Hello and welcome to the first video in this series, preparing you for your PTech work placement and your project report. Over this video series, we're going to be covering a lot of information that will be relevant to you as you go on your work placement and you complete your project report assignment. So at the end of this video, you'll be able to list the different learning activities that you've covered in preparation for your PTech work placement and your project report assignment. You'll be able to list some of the reasons why project reporting is important in the workplace, and you'll be able to list the transferable skills and the skills that you're going to learn through doing this assignment. So what do you see on screen right now? Stairs, arrows up. What does this image represent to you? Do you think it might be used to represent the idea of moving forward, moving onwards, going on a journey, maybe a learning journey or a personal journey? Is it about progressing? Is it about developing? Do you think it might represent all of those ideas? I've chosen this image today because that's what you're doing as you move forward in your PTech learning journey. You're moving forwards, you're progressing, you're moving onwards, you're developing skills, you're developing personally. And all of the PTech learnings and the activities that you've done up to now with your teachers and working with different students, they're all coming together. They're all helping you to develop the knowledge and skills as you journey forwards in your own lives and at this moment as you prepare for the PTech work placement. So let's take a look. Let's see what you've learned in your skills for business and career module of PTech. So you've learned about motivation. You've been thinking a lot about motivation, why you might do some things or approach things in a particular way. You've thought about the effect that your motivation has had on the way you approach your learning. Now, in the workplace, it's also really important for us to continue to look at our motivations. Why do we enjoy working on certain activities, and maybe why do we avoid others? You've also looked at growth mindset. You've looked at the power of not yet, understanding growth mindset, looking at ourselves, reflecting on ourselves, and knowing that we're all on a learning curve. Now, these are skills that we all need. That might be whether we're in school, whether we're in college, or whether we're out at work. For example, in the workplace, managers will work with their teams to help the teams develop professionally. And motivation and mindset are at the heart of those conversations between managers and their employees. When you're on your work placement, keep in mind what you've learned so far about motivation and growth mindset. Ask yourself, what are you learning about yourself? And how can you use this to keep moving forward in your journey? Now let's look at what you learned during the Career Toolset module. So you now know how to create a CV, you can write a cover letter to apply for a job, and you know how to research a company and how you can show them at interview why the company should pick you out of all of the different people they're meeting for interview. You've even done a mock interview. There's lots of great learning that's happened before you take this final step of going on your PTech work placement. Now, across all of these activities, you've been learning to reflect and you've been writing some reflections. And this is something we're going to ask you to continue to do when you go out on your work placement. Do you know why? Because reflection is essential. It's essential at work. For example, if you're in the workplace and you're working on a project, one of the very last sessions you might cover on a project might be a lessons learned activity. And this is where the project team will come together and they'll think about, well, what went well? What might we improve for the next time we run a project? Workers will also reflect for themselves. They'll think about, what happened today? How did I feel when that happened? What went well for me today? How did I feel when it was going well? Is there anything I might do differently the next time? And we'll speak to you a little more in a later video about reflections and where you're going to apply this in your project report and why this is so important. Now, before I move on, let's look at something that you might be working on recently or even at the moment, your personal development plan. This is another brilliant tool that you can use throughout your life. Personal development plans are used in most office or workplace environments. Employees will think about, well, where do they want to go in their careers? And what are the steps that they need to take to get there? What kind of plan do they need to make? And then managers will often sit with their employees and help them with their personal development plan. And they'll see maybe how they could support their employees to get to where they'd like to go. So we've looked at your skills for business and career module in PTech. Now let's look at your skills for a digital world module in PTech. What have you been learning so far that's going to be important for you as you go out and into the workplace to do your workplace assignment and finish your project report? You've been looking at digital competence and digital literacy, so you should now know how to store and how to manage your files. You now know how to develop digital content. These are just some of the things that you've covered so far in this module. You've also been learning about visual design. So for example, you've created a growth fixed mindset poster. You've used Canva to present your ideas. You've thought about fonts and colors and images you could use to give the audience different ideas. And you've probably completed a digital badge relating to visual design. You've also been looking at communication skills. So you've looked at the different types of communications, written communication, visual communication, and how we communicate in different ways and how to communicate effectively. You've also been you've started developing your e-portfolio and you've been practicing your skills. So in this e-portfolio, you're going to showcase everything that you've been learning as part of your PTech program. And soon you're going to be going on the work placement and you're going to be completing your project report. And this is another opportunity for you to showcase a lot of the skills that you've been developing. So let's look at the project report. Now what you can see here on screen is the cover page of what the project report looks like. When you go out on your work placement, you're going to be given a project. Now this could be given to you by a workplace supervisor, it could be given to you by your teacher. You'll learn more about this as you get closer to that time. But you'll be working through this project and then you will be creating a report to document what have you done. You're going to access this project report template in Canva. And it's really important that you complete the project report and you submit it using Canva in a Canva format. It's also important that you should know that you're going to be editing this report. So what do I mean by that? Well, if we look at the cover page, it says this is a template. So you can remove the word template when you start to work on it, because by the time you start to work on this, it isn't a template anymore. It is your project report. So as you work your way through the template, be sure to edit it. Remove anything that doesn't need to be included. And as you work your way through this project, you can customize this any way that you like. So you might be asking yourself, well, why is it important to create a project report? Well, the project report is more than paperwork. This is your chance to show off your skills. It's your chance to tell the story of your work. And here's why it matters. And here's a lot of the transferable skills that you'll have worked on that you can use going forward. Maybe you're going to do a PLC course or a college course or even in the workplace. The project report is a way for you to show your thinking. It shows how did you solve the problem, step by step. Employers value this because it shows your problem-solving skills and your ability to work through a problem. It also showcases professional communication. In the real world, People need clear reports to understand your ideas. A report is a professional way for you to communicate your ideas, your progress, and your results. It helps others understand your work without you needing to explain everything in person. And this project report is a showcase of you understanding your understanding of professional communication. It's also proof of your work. The report is going to highlight what have you achieved. It highlights your effort, your creativity, and your learning. And this can be useful to you for future opportunities like college applications or job interviews. It's also going to be useful to you as you continue your PTech learning journey. This also helps you to reflect and improve. Writing a report is going to encourage you to think about what worked well and what could be improved. Remember, reflection is a key skill for your growth, whether it's in a career that you choose or in a life skill. Reflection is so important. It makes feedback easier. If you're working on a project or you're presenting to a company, the report makes it easier for others to give you constructive feedback. And the project report also prepares you for real world projects and for the future. Most jobs require reports, so this is great practice. In most jobs, projects are documented for accountability and for future reference. Learning how to create a clear, structured report now prepares you for professional standards later. And as you continue in your PTech learning journey, you'll be working on more projects together, maybe with other students. So you'll get so much practice as you work your way through this assignment. So now let's look at what we've covered in this video. At the end of the video, you can list the different learning activities that you've covered in preparation for your PTech work placement and the project report assessment. You can list different reasons why project reporting is important. And you can list the skills and transferable skills that you'll learn in working through this assignment. Thanks for watching.